Hello guys, I'm going to my new YouTube video for today, and as you can see by the thumbnail and how many times I have to say this for every new video, but let's talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, Miles Morales, Cameo, and New Avengers. Well, not New Avengers, Young Avengers, Young Avengers. This is just my speculation and my thoughts about a possible cameo for Miles Morales and his way to Young Avengers, because we all know that the MCU is setting up Young Avengers for Phase 4 and 5, possibly. So first, let's talk about No Way Home and the possible cameo of Miles Morales. Now, how is Miles Morales gonna possibly be in No Way Home? Well, if you see my other video, if you scroll down for a while, you'll see my video on how in No Way Home, the movement of citizens to defend Spidey could be the work of Miles Morales himself or with his father, Mr. Jefferson Davis, because we all know that Miles Morales will appear in the MCU. We already got the mention of him in Homecoming, so it makes sense for him to be in No Way Home as a cameo or another mention. But in my opinion, it should be a cameo. Maybe Peter saves Miles during a crime scene or something. Miles tells Peter, like, "Oh, I believe in you. You didn't kill Mysterio. Well, I'll catch you later." And that can just be the cameo and boom, proof that Miles is in the MCU. Because again, we got a mention of him in Homecoming. And it will be very interesting to see him because obviously he got a mention in Homecoming. So, in my opinion, it would be good if it's possible if the Citizens to Defend Spidey is a movement from Miles and his family to defend Spider-Man, obviously. And that would be really great because if you think about it, he will be in the MCU, obviously. I got a theory like a long time ago that he might appear in Into the Multiverse of Madness. Like Strange and Wanda go to a different New York City where Peter is dead, and Miles is in his graves, like in his like gravestone, I think it's called. And then Strange tells Miles, but he doesn't know that it's Miles. And then he says like, "Oh, what are you doing here, Peter?" And then Miles is like, Peter died months ago, stranger. I'm the new Spider-Man. I'm Miles Morales. But this is No Way Home we're talking about. So that would be a great way to introduce Miles. A cameo, like how I said. Peter can just save him from a crime, and Miles just be like, "Hey, I believe in you. Catch you later." And a post-credit scene, possibly of him being bitten by the radioactive spider, turning him into the ultimate Spider-Man. I mean, we can just get him being in his uncle's house, Aaron Davis, and then just get bit, and then he's just like, "Oh, I don't feel so good," and then he just faints or something, and then he wakes up like on the ceiling, and then boom, like the post-credit scene of Miles Morales. Because if you've seen, there was a few pictures like a while back of truck saying Feast, and we all know about Feast if you played the Spider-Man PS4 game. And I think the Miles Morales game still has Feast. Miles works in the Feast shelter for like the homeless person. So could this be like an introduction to Miles Morales in No Way Home? Who knows? Alright, next up, Young Avengers. We all know that the MCU is making the New Avengers project. We already got introduced to obviously Scott Lang's daughter. We got the guy from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Patriot guy, or what's his name? It's really hard to remember like names, obviously. And we got Kid Loki, and soon we'll be getting Ms. Marvel. and possibly Iron Lad if the kid from Iron Man 3 returns. See right there? The Young Avengers is being formed. And who's next? Well, from Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. But then finally, and hopefully, Miles Morales. Yes, we got like, how many, like 6 kids? Well, if you count Kid Loki, because many are saying we want Kid Loki as like as a possible candidate for Young Avengers. So we already got like a few kids joining the team, possibly. Well, obviously yes, but I don't know about Kid Loki though. But the MCU is introducing us to these young heroes that will make into the Young Avengers, and obviously Miles Morales has to be in the Young Avengers because again, he's in the MCU. So what I could see happening is that, like again, in No Way Home, we get a cameo of Miles Morales, and then we can get a bit of like backstory to him. Maybe like, oh, like my father died, and like this and that, and like Spider-Man's a real hero and stuff. So what we can do is the MCU can do a bit of backstory of Miles Morales in No Way Home, and then in the future movies or possibly in the new trilogy from Tom Holland, if Sony and Marvel make a good deal, like renewed the deal, we can get in depth with Miles Morales, and then he can have his own trilogy one day, because we know he's coming. So Miles Morales can be a good candidate, and obviously a hero to be in the Young Avengers, because we already know that the Young Avengers is being formed. But I know, and many of us know, that some of the members are gonna be from the probably not from the old Avengers, but like the new recruits, like the new mentors. Peter Parker can be in the young. Well, I think the MCU is making like a new team of Avengers, so we can have Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, the new Captain America, and possibly Bucky Barnes, and then we can have Peter Parker being a mentor to the young Avengers and keeping an eye on how they're doing, and see if they're good enough, because one day the world will need the new Avengers. So Miles Morales obviously needs to be in the Young Avengers, because obviously the MC has introduced us to the new young heroes for the future faces, and Miles Morales needs to be one. And there you have it. Alright, people, thanks for enjoying my video for today, you Spider-Man fans. Let's go, and hopefully we'll see Miles Morales in the future phases of the MCU. Later.